Welcome back to our 4 days of Sonic. Today's day 5, and today we're going to be hitting Sonic 3D Blast, but for the Sega Saturn. I do have this game on the Genesis as well as it on a few different compilations. The Genesis one is the one I grew up with. The Saturn one, this is actually the first time I've ever played the Saturn one, was for the 24 Days of Sonic. I just got it in the mail and everything, and visually it looks great. Music wise, I definitely prefer the Genesis soundtrack for this game more, but visually it looks great. Control wise, I was not feeling it with the D-pad. Like I said, I grew up with this game, and I never had a problem with it. A lot of people I hear bashing it, and I had a good time playing Sonic 3D Blast. I remember it was very different than your conventional Sonic game, but I very much enjoyed it. It was one of the last, apparently, games to come out for the Genesis, and one of the earliest titles to be released for Saturn. Not much else to say. This is a game that's been talked about a lot, with a lot of, I think, negative, unobjective reviews, I think, by certain reviewers. It's different. The goal in this one is not so much to run left to right to beat the level, but to collect the flickies that are inside the robotic enemies that Dr. Robotnik has created. But first and foremost, here we go. This is a special stage, bringing back the half pipe from Sonic 2. There are a little bit new mechanics in this one, but it's pretty much the same old half pipe that we remember from Sonic 2. But this is different than the Genesis special stages. Genesis special stages, you run on, some wood planks of a broken bridge, jump over things, collect rings. I think those are probably some of the easiest special stages in Sonic history, the Genesis 3D Blast ones. But to get here, as you saw, I found Knuckles in a level, and I gave him 50 rings, and he brought me here. There are 2 chances you get at a Chaos Emerald in each level, in each act. First, you can find Knuckles and give him 50 rings, or you can find Tails and give him 50 rings. In the Genesis version, you can actually get 2 Chaos Emeralds per act if you did it with both of them. The Saturn version took that out. You can only get 1 per act. So say here I get the Chaos Emerald and I find Tails and I give him 50 rings. He'll bring me here and I can complete the special stage, but it'll give me a 1-up and not another Chaos Emerald. So, an interesting way to farm lives, but not really the time I'd want to spend to farm lives. But this is the only time, besides Sonic World in the Jam Collection, that you get to play on the Dreamcast as Sonic in 3D. I guess you could also say Sonic R, but you get to actually move him and see his 3D model. But like I was saying before, the objective of this game, as you can see, there's a little flicky following me. You beat enemies, you kill an enemy, and the flicky comes out. There are 5 per section. There are usually 2, sometimes 3 sections per stage. It's pretty self-explanatory. The shield I have now is where it's a homing shield, and it homes onto an enemy when you tap the jump button again when you jump. This is where Sonic got his homing attack from this game. So it's pretty cool. As you can see, here's the ring. Put the flickies in, go through this chute, and you go on to the next section of the act. But yeah, I don't really have much to say. I enjoyed this game growing up. I still enjoy. I prefer playing the Genesis version. As a kid, something funny actually happened. Me and my friend were gonna play this one day, and we bumped into it when we had the cartridge in. we bumped on the side of it by mistake, and at the title screen, and it brought us to a level select. So we started experimenting, and there was a certain time with, at least with that cartridge, where we would tap it on the side of the console, and it would bring us to the level select, and we thought that was the level select code. So it was pretty cool. This game, like 3 and Knuckles, and like some of the Game Gear games, makes it that if you want to play the true final ending and the true final boss, you need to collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds. So, it gives you incentive to go after those, get all the rings you can, be a little conservative, and go after and find Tails and Knuckles. But visually, this on the Saturn, it looks great. I prefer the Genesis controller over it, and I prefer the Genesis music, like I said. So, and each flicky actually has a different property to it. The blue flickies will do their best to find Sonic, because if you get hit, you lose him. But you see, if you see an X there, that means that's the last ring in the level, and you'll go to the next one. But each flicky does have their own property. Blue ones will do their best to find Sonic. I think it's the red or orange, whatever color they are the ones that jump around like crazy. They bounce around. And I think the purple ones are the ones that are really fast. Or maybe that's the green, but each flicky has a different property to it, so just be eerie. If you've seen also in the previous act, there were little Sonic head icons when you bounce on some of the springs. If you collect 10 of those, you get an extra life. So, another way to farm lives. They make it pretty accessible in this game to farm lives. Another thing that I didn't mention was with the special stage. After you exit a special stage, the entire level resets. Which means basically all rings are back to where they were, all boxes, monitors, they were back to where they were. So if you see an extra life monitor, you get one, go into special stage, beat it, you can get another one. And so are shields. But if you go into a stage with the shield on, you'll come out of the stage without the shield on, so you have to go back and get it. That's the only negative. But yeah, this is a fun game. I would definitely consider, if I ever considered LPing it, I'd do the Genesis port for sure. There's Knuckles. Not gonna give him anything. But if, say, I gave him those 8 rings, that would count towards it, so I can stack. So then I would only need to give him 42 more. I wouldn't have to go back and get 50. So it's pretty good that they did that. This pissed me off so bad here. I don't know why I couldn't kill this damn enemy. And then, so we'll try that again. First we'll go after you, to avenge that death. Now for this Legend of Zelda worm wannabe. But you gotta see the detail. Look at that. Not just do we have the shield, the flickies have the shield too. So that's I like the detail there. One thing this game does really, really well, in my opinion, is the explorative factor. Since you do have to go everywhere to collect these flickies, it sort of makes you do it, but you get to, these levels are pretty big, especially the different sections, and you can explore and find, extra lives and shields, and Tails and Knuckles. It's so much fun to just explore, especially on the Saturn, because it does look so nice. Like here I think they did it well, as opposed to Sonic Labyrinth, which we're going to get to later on in our 24 days, which is, basically the Game Gear's answer to Sonic 3D Blast. That game did not do the top-down 3D perspective well at all. It's not a terrible game, but it didn't do it well. But it was an experimental phase for Sega. And the fact that you put Sonic on it, doesn't guarantee a million seller, but it's definitely going to sell you, a good amount of units. It's like nowadays, if you put, say, Call of Duty on anything, regardless if it's good or not, it's going to sell. So, they knew what they were doing. But yeah, this is the second to last game we'll be playing with the Saturn. We're going to soon be getting to Sonic R. And as of the day of this, actually me recording this, Sonic R is on its way. I've imported the Japanese version, so that'll be here soon. And also today I got finally my replacement link cable for my 32X and my Genesis. So maybe a Knuckles Chaotix playthrough. We'll see. But yeah, that's the end of Act 2. Now, one thing I want to say, people say the loading times are bad, but it doesn't look that bad here. I did a hell of a lot of editing, and I cut out probably 5 to 6 minutes worth of loading times, just for one zone. So the loading times are real on the Saturn. Some games are not as bad, but this game, they're atrocious. So but here's your first Robotnik battle. The gimmick of all the Robotnik battles is unlike other ones where it didn't matter where you hit, as long as you didn't hit like a flame or anything, it would do damage. No, you have to hit his glass top. He's just his top of his Eggmobile here. And this is actually, I believe, the last game where we were able to call him Dr. Robotnik. Or at least the last console game. It might have been this or Sonic R, but yeah, down he goes. And so yeah, that was Sonic 3D Blast. Was interesting. That was my first time playing it on the Saturn, so it's almost a blind playthrough of this version at least. But I enjoyed it. I'm definitely on my personal time going to go back to it and probably play through it and play the Genesis one just to do a side-by-side comparison. But until tomorrow, you guys do good, and tomorrow, day 6, should be something really special. So I hope